The doorbell rang twice before I could get up from my chair. My hip had been acting up again, and at 67, I'd learned not to rush for anyone anymore. When I opened the door, my daughter stood there with her husband, both of them wearing smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. Rebecca, my only child, the girl I'd raised alone after her father walked out when she was 4 years old. "Mom!" She stepped forward and hugged me, but it felt rehearsed, stiff, like she was performing for someone who might be watching. "You look good." "It's been 14 months, Rebecca." She flinched at that. "Good." I wanted her to flinch. "I know, Mom. I know. Things have been crazy with work and the kids and—" She trailed off, looking past me into the apartment. "Can we come in?" I stepped aside and let them enter. My son-in-law, Derek, nodded at me the way you'd acknowledge a stranger in an elevator. "Margaret." "Derek." That was all we said to each other. It was more than we usually managed. They settled onto my couch, the one I'd had for 20 years, the one with the faded blue flowers that Rebecca used to trace with her fingers when she was little. Now she looked at it like it was something from a garage sale, something beneath her. "Can I get you anything? Coffee? Tea?" "We're fine, Mom." Rebecca patted the cushion next to her. "Sit down. We want to talk to you about something." I didn't sit. Something in her voice put me on alert. After 67 years on this earth, 43 of them as a mother, you learn to recognize when someone wants something from you. And my daughter wanted something. "I need to use the bathroom first," I said. "Give me a minute." I walked down the short hallway to my bathroom, but I didn't close the door all the way, just enough to seem closed. An old habit from when Rebecca was a teenager, and I needed to know what she was really up to. You'd be amazed what people say when they think you can't hear them. "She looks older," Rebecca whispered. "Did you see how thin she's gotten?" "Focus," Derek said. "We need to do this today. The broker said we have until Friday to make the offer on the house." I know. This is harder than I thought." "It's not hard, Beck. We just need her to agree to sell this place and move into assisted living. She's 67. It's time." I felt my chest tighten. Assisted living. My daughter wanted to put me in a home. But what if she says no? Derek laughed, but there was no humor in it. What's she going to do? She works part-time at a gift shop. Her Social Security barely covers this rent. She doesn't have options. "Rebecca, that's the whole point. I just feel guilty." "Don't. We need the money from this apartment. Our bid on the Westchester house won't go through without it. And I'm not losing that property because your mother is sentimental about a 2-bedroom rental in Yonkers." I gripped the bathroom counter so hard my knuckles turned white. 14 months. My daughter hadn't called, hadn't visited, hadn't even texted me on my birthday, and now she was here because she needed money, because she wanted to sell me off to the lowest bidder so she could buy a house in Westchester. I looked at myself in the mirror, at the lines on my face, the gray in my hair, the tired eyes that had seen too much disappointment, and I thought about the envelope hidden in my closet, the one with the check inside. $2.8 million. I'd won the lottery 9 months ago. Walked into the same bodega I'd been going to for 30 years, bought my usual scratch-off ticket, and watched as the numbers lined up one after another. I remember the owner, Mr. Kim, asking if I was okay because I'd gone completely pale. I didn't tell anyone. Not a single soul. I cashed the ticket in Albany, met with a financial advisor who specialized in lottery winners, and put most of the money in investments. The check in my closet was just a fraction of it. Walking around money, the advisor called it. Enough to change my life whenever I was ready. But I wasn't ready, because something in me wanted to wait, wanted to see. Now I knew why. I flushed the toilet, ran the water, and gave myself a moment to compose my face. When I walked back out, Rebecca and Derek were sitting there like nothing had happened. Like they hadn't just been plotting to warehouse me like old furniture. "Everything okay, Mom? You were in there a while." "I'm fine. Just takes longer at my age." I sat down in my armchair, the one facing the couch, the one that gave me a clear view of both of them. "Now, what did you want to talk about?" Rebecca glanced at Derek. He gave her a slight nod. "Mom, we've been thinking about your living situation." "Have you?" "Yes. And we're worried about you. You're all alone here, and what if something happens? What if you fall or get sick?" I've been alone here for 12 years, Rebecca. I haven't fallen yet. But you might. She leaned forward, and I could see her practicing this, rehearsing the concerned daughter act. We found this wonderful place in Connecticut, Sunrise Gardens. It's a community for active seniors. You'd have your own apartment, but there'd be staff nearby if you needed anything. And how much does Sunrise Gardens cost? Another glance at Derek. Well, that's the thing. It's not cheap. But if you sold the equity in this apartment back to the building and used your savings. What savings, Rebecca? I work 20 hours a week selling ceramic cats to tourists. What savings do you think I have? Derek shifted on the couch. I saw his jaw tighten. He wasn't used to things not going according to plan. We know you don't have much, Margaret, he said. But this apartment has a rent-stabilized lease. The building would pay a buyout to get it back, probably $50,000–$60,000. That would cover the first couple years at Sunrise Gardens. And after that, we'd figure something out. I almost laughed. We'd figure something out. Translation. You'd be someone else's problem by then. I appreciate your concern, I said, keeping my voice steady. But I'm not interested in moving. Rebecca's face fell. Mom, please, just think about it. I have thought about it. I'm staying here. But you're all alone. Don't you want to be around people your own age? Don't you want community? I have community. I have my book club and my church group and Mr. Kim at the bodega who gives me extra coffee when it's cold outside. I have a life here, Rebecca. Just because you haven't been part of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. She pulled back like I'd slapped her. Good. That's not fair, she said quietly. Isn't it? When was the last time you called me? Not texted, called. I've been busy. 14 months, Rebecca. That's not busy. That's absence. Derek stood up abruptly. Maybe we should go. Let you think about this. There's nothing to think about. Margaret. His voice had an edge now. The polite mask was slipping. We're trying to help you. You're 67 years old, living alone in a city that doesn't care about you. You work a minimum wage job that could disappear tomorrow. What's your plan? Work until you drop? Die alone in this apartment? Derek! Rebecca grabbed his arm. No, let him talk, I said. It's the most honest he's been since he walked in. He stared at me. I stared back. I'd faced down harder men than Derek Morrison. I'd raised a child alone, worked 3 jobs at once, buried both my parents, and nursed my mother through Alzheimer's in her final years. This junior hedge fund analyst with his polo shirts and his Westchester ambitions didn't scare me. We need this, he finally said. We need the buyout money, the house we want to buy. It's a good investment. It would set us up, set the kids up. So this is about money. It's about everyone winning. Margaret, you get into a nice facility where someone can look after you. We get the capital we need for the house. Everyone's happy. I'm not happy, Derek, and I'm not moving. Rebecca stood up, tears in her eyes. Whether they were real or not, I couldn't tell anymore. Mom, please. We're your family. Are you? I looked at her. At this stranger who had my daughter's face. Family calls. Family visits. Family doesn't show up after 14 months trying to sell off their mother so they can buy a bigger house. That's not what we're doing. Go home, Rebecca. Go home and think about what kind of daughter you want to be, and when you figure it out, you can call me, if you still remember my number. She started crying then. Real tears this time, I think. Derek put his arm around her and guided her to the door, shooting me a look that said, "This isn't over." I watched them go. Listened to their footsteps down the hall, the elevator dinging, the silence that followed. Then I went to my closet and pulled out the envelope. Looked at the check inside. $2.8 million, made out to Margaret Ellen Sullivan. I'd always planned to share it. That was the thing. When I won, my first thought was Rebecca. I'd pay off her mortgage, set up college funds for her kids, maybe take her on a vacation somewhere warm. Mother and daughter finally spending time together without the stress of money hanging over everything. But now I knew the truth. My daughter didn't love me. She saw me as an obstacle, a problem to be solved, an aging mother who was worth more as a buyout than as a person. And somehow, knowing that made everything clearer. I didn't hear from Rebecca for 3 weeks after that visit. Then one morning, my phone rang. "Mom?" Her voice was softer than before. I wanted to apologize for how we handled things. "Did you?" Derek and I talked. We were wrong to approach it that way. "You're right. I haven't been a good daughter. I've been so caught up in our own lives, our own problems, I forgot what mattered." I waited. In my experience, apologies that came with a "but" weren't really apologies. "But Mom, I am worried about you. Not about money. About you. What if something happens and no one's there? I've been taking care of myself for a long time, Rebecca." "I know. I know you have. But would you at least let me visit more? Maybe come for dinner once a month?" I thought about it. Wondered if this was genuine or just a new strategy. Wondered if it mattered. "You can visit," I said finally. "But there are conditions. Anything. No more talk about assisted living. No more talk about selling my apartment. You come to visit me, not my assets. Understood?" "Understood." "I promise, Mom." "Okay then, Sunday dinner. I'll make your grandmother's pot roast." I could hear her crying again through the phone. "I'd love that. I really would." After I hung up, I sat in my armchair and looked around my apartment. At the faded couch and the photos on the walls and the view of the street where I'd lived for the past 12 years. It wasn't much by most standards. But it was mine. And I had options now. Options I'd never had before. Rebecca came for dinner that Sunday. Without Derek, which I counted as progress. She brought flowers and a bottle of wine and actually helped me in the kitchen, something she hadn't done since she was a teenager. "I forgot how good your pot roast is," she said, cutting another piece. "Why don't I ever make this?" "Because you buy everything pre-made from Whole Foods." She laughed. A real laugh, surprised out of her. "You're not wrong. We talked. Really talked. About her kids. My grandchildren, who I'd seen only a handful of times in the past few years. About her job stress and her marriage and how sometimes she felt like she was drowning. "I didn't mean what we said that day," she told me quietly. "About you not having options." Derek was frustrated about the house and I let him talk me into a terrible plan. "But that's not who I want to be, Mom. That's not how I want you to see me." "Then don't be that person." "I'm trying. I really am." I almost told her then. Almost pulled out the envelope and showed her the check and said, "Look, none of this matters. I have more money than we'll ever need." But something held me back. A small voice that said, "Wait, watch, make sure." So I waited. And I watched. The next few months were the best I'd had with my daughter in years. She came to dinner every Sunday, sometimes with the kids, sometimes alone. We talked on the phone twice a week. She sent me pictures of her garden growing, asked for my advice on recipes, even invited me to her son's soccer game. It felt real. It felt like maybe I'd gotten my daughter back. Then one Sunday, Derek came with her. Margaret. He nodded at me like before, but his smile was different. Warmer. Practiced. "Thank you for having me." "You're welcome in my home, Derek, as long as you behave." He laughed like I'd told a joke. I hadn't. During dinner, he was charming. Complimented the food, asked about my book club, showed interest in my life for the first time in the 7 years he'd been married to my daughter. Red flags went up all over my mind. After dessert, while Rebecca was in the kitchen getting coffee, Derek leaned toward me. "Margaret, I owe you an apology. A real one. I was out of line when we came here before. I let money stress get the best of me, and I treated you like a problem instead of a person." "That's very big of you to admit." "I mean it. Rebecca helped me see how wrong I was. You're her mother. You should be respected, not pressured." I nodded, waiting for the other shoe to drop. "Anyway," he continued, "I just wanted you to know that whatever you decide about your living situation, we support you. No more talk about assisted living unless you bring it up first." I appreciate that. "And hey, if you ever need anything at all, we're here. That's what family's for, right?" There it was. Subtle. But there. "If you ever need anything." The door left open. Just a crack. I smiled my grandmother's smile. The one that looked warm but gave nothing away. "Thank you, Derek. That means a lot." Rebecca came back with coffee, and the rest of the evening passed pleasantly enough. But I kept thinking about that phrase, "if you ever need anything," like he was positioning himself for some future favor. After they left, I went to my closet again, looked at the envelope, then I pulled out my laptop and started doing research. Derek Morrison, age 41, junior partner at Blackwood Financial, house in Mamaroneck with an estimated value of $800,000, 2 kids in private school, a lifestyle that cost far more than his salary could support. I didn't have to dig deep to find the cracks. Social media told most of the story. The expensive vacations, the new cars, the country club membership. A family living well beyond their means, floating on credit and hope. The house in Westchester they'd wanted to buy had fallen through. I found that out from Rebecca herself during one of our phone calls. "It's probably for the best," she said, sighing. "We were stretching too far anyway. Are you doing okay? Financially, I mean?" "Oh, you know. The usual stress. Derek's bonus wasn't as big as he expected, and the kids' tuition went up again. If you ever need help." "No, Mom. We're fine." "Really? We wouldn't take money from you anyway. You need it more than we do." I almost laughed at that. "Almost. I just want you to know the offer's there," I said carefully. "If things ever get really tight." "Thanks, Mom. But we'll manage. We always do." After that call, I made a decision. I was going to test my daughter one more time, one final test to see what kind of person she really was. Not because I'm cruel or paranoid, but because $2.8 million changes things. It changes people. And I needed to know, truly know, whether Rebecca loved me or what she thought I was worth. The test was simple. I invented a sister. Well, not invented exactly. I had a sister once, Ellen, named after our mother. She died when we were both in our 20s, hit by a drunk driver on her way home from work. I'd mourned her for decades, kept her picture on my dresser, visited her grave every year on her birthday. But Rebecca had never met her. Ellen died 5 years before Rebecca was born, and in my daughter's mind, Aunt Ellen was just a name, a faded photograph, a story from a time before she existed. So I brought her back. "Rebecca," I said during our next Sunday dinner, "I need to tell you something I should have mentioned a long time ago." She set down her fork. "What is it? Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine. It's just, do you remember me mentioning my sister Ellen? The one who passed away?" "Of course." "Well, before she died, she set up a life insurance policy. A large one, and she named me as the beneficiary." Rebecca's eyes widened. "What?" "I never claimed it. For years, I couldn't bring myself to touch it. It felt like blood money, you know, money that only existed because my sister was dead. Mom, I had no idea. But recently, I decided to finally claim it. And it turns out the policy had grown over the years. With interest and all the legal settlements, it came to quite a sum." "How much?" I paused, watched her face carefully. "Just over $2 million. The silence that followed was deafening. I could almost see the calculations happening behind her eyes. The gears turning, the possibilities exploding. $2 million? She whispered. "Give or take. The lawyers are still working out the exact amount." "Mom, that's incredible. That's life-changing money." "I know, and I'm still figuring out what to do with it." She reached across the table and took my hand. "Whatever you decide, I'm happy for you. Really. You deserve this after everything you've been through." "Thank you, sweetheart." And then she said exactly what I'd been waiting for. "Just be careful, okay? Don't let anyone take advantage of you. There are a lot of scammers out there who target seniors with money. Not a single word about wanting any for herself. Not a hint of expectation or entitlement. Just genuine concern for my well-being." Maybe I'd been wrong about her. The next few weeks were the real test. I watched for changes. For suddenly increased interest. For Derek finding reasons to visit more often, or Rebecca dropping hints about their financial troubles. But it didn't happen. If anything, they seemed more comfortable, less tense, like knowing I had money took pressure off them instead of making them hungry for it. Derek actually stopped coming to Sunday dinners. "He says it's your special time with Rebecca," my daughter explained. "He doesn't want to intrude." Interesting. One evening, Rebecca called me in tears. "Mom, something happened. Something bad." My heart seized. "What is it? Are the kids okay?" "The kids are fine. It's Derek. He lost his job." "Oh no. What happened?" "Budget cuts. They let go of 12 people in his department. He's devastated, Mom. He's been with that company for 15 years. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Is there anything I can do? No. We'll figure it out. We have savings. Derek's already looking for something new. It's scary. You know? With the mortgage and the kids' school. Rebecca, I have money now. Let me help. Mom, no. Absolutely not. That money is yours. You save it for yourself, for your future. But you're my family. What's the point of having money if I can't help my family? The point is that you worked hard all your life and you deserve security. We'll be fine, really. This is just a bump in the road. I pushed harder. At least let me pay the kids' tuition for a semester, take some pressure off while Derek finds a new job. Mom. Her voice was firm but loving. Thank you. Truly. But we need to handle this ourselves. It wouldn't be right to take your money. After she hung up, I sat in my apartment and cried. I cried because I'd spent 9 months suspecting my daughter of being a gold digger. I cried because I'd invented an elaborate test to prove her love was conditional. I cried because I was wrong. Rebecca had changed. Maybe that first terrible visit had been a wake-up call for her. Maybe she'd looked at herself through my eyes and hadn't liked what she'd seen. Whatever the reason, the daughter who called me now, who visited every Sunday, who refused my money even when she was drowning, that was the daughter I'd always hoped she would become. Derek found a new job 6 weeks later. Better company, better salary, less stress. Rebecca called to tell me the news, breathless with relief. Everything's going to be okay, Mom. I told you we'd figure it out. I never doubted you for a second. Listen, Derek and I have been talking about the holidays. We want you to come to Thanksgiving this year. Stay the whole weekend. The kids barely know you, and that's our fault. We want to change that. I accepted. Of course I accepted. Thanksgiving at their house was chaotic and loud and wonderful. My grandchildren, Tyler and Emma, were 11 and 8, old enough to have personalities and opinions and terrible jokes that made me laugh until I cried. Derek was attentive and kind, asking about my life, listening to my stories about their mother as a child. She was a handful, I told him over pumpkin pie, always testing boundaries, always pushing to see what she could get away with. Some things never change, he said, grinning at Rebecca. Hey! She threw a napkin at him. I'm a model citizen now. You're a model something, he agreed. Watching them together, I saw something I'd missed before. They loved each other, really loved each other. The tension I'd seen at that first visit wasn't their normal state. It was desperation, fear, the pressure of a life that was spinning out of control. Now, with Derek's new job and their finances stabilizing, they were themselves again. Playful, affectionate, a team. After the kids went to bed, Rebecca and I sat on her porch with glasses of wine, looking at the stars. Mom, I need to tell you something. What is it? I've been carrying this guilt around for months. About when Derek and I came to see you that day. About what we said. That's in the past, Rebecca. I know, but I need to say this. We were wrong. Not just wrong about the approach, wrong about everything. You're my mother. You're not a problem to be solved or an asset to be liquidated. You're the woman who raised me alone, who sacrificed everything so I could have opportunities she never had. And I treated you like an obligation. Tears were streaming down her face now. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry for the person I was that day. I don't know how you ever forgave me. I took her hand. You're my daughter. There's nothing to forgive. There is, though. There is. And I promise you, I will never be that person again. You will never have to doubt my love. I don't care about money or inheritances or whatever you do with Aunt Ellen's insurance. I just want my mother. That's all I've ever really wanted. I pulled her close and held her while she cried. My little girl, my only child, the baby I'd held in the hospital 43 years ago, promising to love her forever. I believe you, I whispered. I believe you. I told her the truth a week later. Not all of it. Not about the test or the suspicion or the months I'd spent watching her for signs of greed. Just the truth about the money. There is no Aunt Ellen insurance policy, I said. Rebecca's face went blank. What? I won the lottery. 9 months ago. $2.8 million. She stared at me. You... What? I didn't tell anyone. I needed time to figure things out. And then you and Derek showed up wanting to sell my apartment, and I thought maybe you only cared about money. I thought if I told you, you'd see me as an ATM instead of a mother. So, the whole insurance story. A test. I'm sorry. I needed to know. I waited for anger. For hurt. For her to accuse me of manipulation, of playing games with her emotions. Instead, she laughed. Oh my God, Mom. You tested me? I had to be sure. And? Did I pass? With flying colors? She laughed harder, wiping tears from her eyes. I can't believe this. You're like a spy. A lottery-winning spy. I prefer the term cautious mother. Cautious mother with $2.8 million. Well, closer to 2.3 now, after taxes and investments. She shook her head, still laughing. I don't even know what to say. Does Derek know? Not yet. I wanted to tell you first. Fair. She took a deep breath. So what are you going to do with it? The money? I've been thinking about that a lot. And I have some ideas. Here's what I decided. I set up college funds for Tyler and Emma. Enough to cover any school they choose, with leftover for graduate degrees if they want them. No strings attached, no conditions. Just a gift from their grandmother who loves them. I paid off Rebecca's mortgage. She cried for an hour when I told her. Derek cried too, though he tried to hide it. I donated $100,000 to Mr. Kim's bodega to help him upgrade his store and pay his employees better. He'd been kind to me for 30 years. It seemed right to return the favor. I kept enough to live comfortably for the rest of my life. Not extravagantly. I didn't need extravagance, just a cushion, a safety net, the security of knowing I'd never have to worry about money again. And the apartment in Yonkers? I kept it. The faded couch, the family photos, the view of the street I've called home for 12 years. Derek offered to help me find something nicer. Rebecca suggested a house closer to them in Connecticut. But I like my life. I like my book club and my church group and my walks to Mr. Kim's bodega. I like being surrounded by memories, by the things I've built over decades of struggle and sacrifice and love. I'm not a lottery winner who escaped her life. I'm a woman who found out, in her 67th year, that her life was pretty good all along. The money just gave me the freedom to enjoy it. Rebecca visits every Sunday. Derek comes sometimes too, and the kids come whenever they can. We have dinner, we talk, we argue about politics, and laugh at old family stories. It's everything I ever wanted. Sometimes I think about those first few months after I won, the loneliness I felt, the suspicion, the way I'd looked at my own daughter and wondered if she loved me or my money. I don't regret the test. It gave me certainty. But I regret the doubt. I regret the months I spent assuming the worst about the child I raised. Turns out, people can surprise you. They can start out wrong and end up right. They can be selfish one day and selfless the next. They can change. My daughter changed. Or maybe she just remembered who she always was. Either way, I have my family back. I have my life. I have $2.3 million and a rent-stabilized apartment and all the time in the world. And you know what? I think I'm going to be okay. If you're watching this and you've lost touch with someone you love, call them. Don't wait 14 months like my daughter did. Don't wait until you want something from them. Call because you love them. Call because time is short and family is precious and tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. And if you're the one who's been ignored, who's been forgotten, who's been treated like an afterthought by the people who should love you most, I want you to know something. You deserve better. You deserve people who show up not because they need something, but because they need you. You deserve Sunday dinners and phone calls and grandchildren who know your name. You deserve a life full of love, not obligation. And sometimes, you have to wait for it. Sometimes you have to test it. Sometimes you have to watch and see who people really are before you can trust them with your heart. But it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. Thanks for listening to my story. If it touched you, if it made you think about your own family, hit that like button and subscribe to Twisted RSB Stories for more. And leave a comment telling me about your own experience. I read every single one. Until next time, take care of yourselves. And call your mother.